Spoiler alert, the movies of the Toy Story series will be spoiled. If you haven't seen them, you're missing out. Like, stop the video and go watch them. We'll wait. Okay, we're done waiting.
What do you think of when you hear bad games? Yeah, shovelware, rushed games, or rare games?
Wait a minute.
After Microsoft. What we will be talking about is licensed games.
Oh!
Licensed games get such a bad rap that we're actually going to be looking at a good one after a bad one. This is Toy Story for the Sega Genesis. It also came out on the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy and the PC, but we'll be playing it on the Genesis because that's the console we have it for.
The game was published by Disney Interactive Studios and developed by Tiertex Design Studios for the Game Boy, and by Traveler's Tale for the main consoles. Traveler's Tale is basically known for developing licensed games. Their more recent work have been the LEGO Star Wars, LEGO Batman, LEGO Harry Potter. Let's just say if it has the word LEGO in it, followed by a movie title, then they probably made it. Now that doesn't make this a good game. We're talking about early Traveler's Tales. Before this they made Mickey Mania and a game based off Dracula which weren't well received. They also made
What's bad about...
I don't think we have time to discuss in this video. Let's just say, for one, Sega should really stop letting others develop Sonic games, and two, this game can either be good or bad.
It's bad. Let's start the game. Oh god, what is that Woody's face? Is he supposed to be smirking? Because that is not the face to smirk. That's the face you make when your food's coming in Applebee's. Sirloin steak.
I have another question. Why is there no music? Seriously, there's no music at the title screen. Oh, never mind. It's just on the second title screen. We haven't even started playing the game, and this is going great.
The story of the game follows the plot of the movie, with the entire thing being told with still shots from the movie with some text. If you're not familiar with the movie, here's the plot in less than 60 seconds. Ready, here's I go.
Woody is a cowboy toy who is the leader of a group of toys owned by a boy named Andy. Woody is also Andy's favorite toy, but on Andy's birthday, Andy gets a brand new toy, Buzz Lightyear the Space Ranger, who not only becomes Andy's favorite toy, but the group's favorite as well, even though Buzz thinks he's a real Space Ranger. Woody accidentally gets rid of Buzz. Toys try to get rid of Woody, who's saved by Andy, who's going to get pizza at Pizza Planet, which I can only assume is like a Chuck E. Cheese. Depressing. Buzz tries to get revenge on Woody and go home. Both toys are picked up by the evil neighborhood kid, who's the next Michael Bay, because he likes to blow up. Buzz finds out he's actually a toy, gets depressed, changes his name to Mrs. Nesbit. Then Woody gets some speech about toys, making Buzz, don't worry, just be happy. Buzz is then taken and be blown up. Woody then rallies up some toys from Black Lagoon. Woody saves Buzz. They catch up to a moving van since Andy's family is moving, and that basically ends the movie with everybody cool with everyone. Now back to sides.
There are two reasons why we can't say this is a good licensed game. First off, it's constantly changing genres and objectives. There are a few levels where you have to ride Rex or this thing in continuously side-scrolling levels.
I think he's called Movie Bob, or Roller Bob, or like Bob the Builder, something like that.
You also get some cool levels like the one that looks like a game of Doom, or the one where you control an RC through an obstacle course, which is a lot of fun. Though it feels like the developers continually change the genre just to make sure the player isn't bored with it, it's the same issue with the objectives.
In a classic 2D Mario or Sonic game, you have the consistent goal of just reaching the end of the level with obstacles in your way. In Toy Story, you have to reach the end of the level, but sometimes you have to complete a certain objective before you do. This is most noticeable at the beginning of the game. In the first level, you have to free some army soldiers and knock down a baby monitor before reaching the end. The one that follows has you race against the clock to return all the toys to their proper place, either in the toy box or under the bed, after which Woody has to be on top of the bed. Halfway into the game, the developers must have realized that constantly changing the objective is annoying, since they made the last half of the levels give you the sole goal of reaching the end of the level. Instead, they thought they could get the player's attention with another tactic.
Which leads us to reason number 2. This game's hard! Usually a game being hard isn't something to complain about for old school games. The term NES hard came from the Nintendo Entertainment System games generally being known for their hard difficulty, which they had to be. Kids back then really couldn't buy a large amount of games, so developers had to make their game hard, but also fun and fair, which this game does not have. Throughout the levels, you have to avoid enemies such as trains and airplanes that if touched will hurt you. Woody only has 2 moves, jump and a whip attack. Though the whip doesn't destroy the enemies, instead it just ties them up, making it safe for Woody to walk through them. This would be an acceptable game mechanic if we can tell where the enemies are coming and where they're coming from. They always seem to come on the screen at the very last minute, giving you a split second to react. This is most noticeable during the sections with Rex or Bob. The last level is just the worst. You play as Buzz trying to catch up with the moving van, but you have to dodge cars and trees that just suddenly come out of nowhere.
Another pain in the ass is the boss fights. Yeah, this game has boss fights. One boss is a nightmare Woody has of a giant Buzz Lightyear attacking him, like in the movie. Oh wait, that wasn't in the movie. Take a guess on how to defeat him. Go ahead, take a guess. Bet that you guess you have to get rid of all the planets orbiting him and then hit him with the whip, correct? Well, no. If you just wildly hit him, you'll do no damage. You have to hit him when he's looking down at his wrist thingy. How the hell was I supposed to know you can only hurt him in this single moment? None of the other bosses are any better.
The game doesn't really do a good job on explaining stuff. In level 3, the game tells us to keep up with Buzz in a race to show Woody is just as good of a toy as Buzz. Telling us to keep up made us try to rush through the stage, which was a bad idea. A lot of the time when you try to jump from platform to platform, an enemy will jump from the bottom of the screen, and if you don't wait, you're gonna get hit. In reality, you can just take your time, stroll through the level, don't get hit by nothing, and you'll be fine.
In fact, this is how you'll play most of the platforming sections. Instead of going at a steady pace, you'll move really slowly just to make sure you don't get hit. Now, getting hit shouldn't be a big deal. I mean, you can take multiple hits and you do have multiple lives. But the reason it is a big deal is if you die, you have to start all over. At the end of each level, you'll see Woody doing a dance that probably broke his foot, and a continue counter. We have no clue how to raise the continue counter. Getting 100 stars does not get you a continue. The stars only get you extra hits and lives. There's no password system, there's no stage select. The only way to get back to the level you were on is to play throughout the entire game again, or use a cheat code to skip levels. And yes, we did that, and we gave ourselves invincibility. 2 hours in, and we did not care, and we still don't. We just want to see what the rest of the game had to offer.
The levels don't get any better, they just get harder and more frustrating. This game is where you basically just play the same level over and over and over again just to get good at it. And once you master the level, you have to do it again with the next level while playing through the entire game again if you die. Mega Man has a similar concept, but the main difference is that you don't have to go through all the stages you've already beaten. But even if you lost all of your lives, you still have a password system that can easily allow you to not only continue, but turn off the game console and return where you were.
This game is mediocre at best. The presentation isn't too bad, but the music is forgettable, and while it actually looks pretty good, there will be instances where you can't tell what you can interact or what will stop you in your tracks. This game is best for a lazy day where you can take the time to actually master the levels and beat it. Well, if it's your only option.
You may be saying that we're being too harsh on this game. It's just a cash in on a popular franchise, or it's a kid's game made for kids, right? I mean, lighten up. Wrong. That does not give it an excuse to be a bad game. It could still be a cash in and a game made for kids and still be fun. The sequel, Toy Story 2, Buzz Lightyear to the Rescue, was actually fun. Released 4 years after the first Toy Story game, Toy Story 2 was once again made by Traveller's Tales for the main console version and Tiertex Design Studios for the Game Boy Color version. Like the first game, Toy Story 2 also follows the plot of the movie, this time being told by action film clips played between the levels. Due to copyright, we won't play the clips for you, but we can tell you the plot in less than 60 seconds. Go!
Years after the first Toy Story, Andy is taking Woody to Camp when Woody suddenly gets a tear. Woody then becomes an elf on a shelf, and due to a broken penguin, he believes he will be forgotten. When the penguin gets taken to a yard sale, Woody saves him, but then he gets himself stolen by Newman. Buzz and friends then venture to rescue Woody from Tantor. Buzz and friends, wait, whoa. Do we really have to go through this?
Why not?
Well, for one, I easily lose my breath. But the main thing is that both of these games don't really require you to see the movies. They both explain what's going on pretty clearly, though you will enjoy the games a bit more if you have seen the movies.
Good point. Now this game had almost none of the problems that the first one had. This game is a 3D action platformer, and it's like that the entire game. You play as Buzz Lightyear and you have to venture through a level completing 5 objectives to gain Pizza Planet tokens, which in turn unlock more levels. These objectives are the same in every level. You always have to complete a race or a time travel, solve a puzzle, collect 50 coins, collect 5 lost items, and defeat a mini-boss.
And while these objectives are the same, they're a lot of fun because they're different in every level. They will test your skills and they progressively get harder. The first race you'll have is a foot race against the RC car. This race makes sure you learn the basics of running, jumping, and controlling the camera, and as long as you stay in front of him, you'll be sure to win. Later, you'll have a race where you have to catch up to a Pizza Planet token while sliding down an air vent. By now, you better have mastered jumping, because if you fall down a hole, you're starting over.
The collecting 5 items goal tests your platforming skills. You'll have to find 5 lost items somewhere in the level, usually in a hard-to-reach location. And the level designs are brilliant. The developers built most of the levels with the concept of being a small toy in mind. Most of the levels are vertically built instead of horizontal. A tree, which usually isn't that big to a normal person, is freaking gigantic to a toy. The levels just keep getting better and more challenging as the game goes on. The levels aren't the only thing that's great. The presentation of the game itself is great too. The graphics are pretty good for their time, and the music is not only wonderfully paired with the levels, it's actually pretty catchy. Though
this game is not perfect. Sometimes the game doesn't trigger a mechanic, even though when it is triggered, nothing really changed. The controls aren't precise at times, two of the levels aren't as good as the rest of the game. Seeing Buzz in the reflection of his helmet can be both scary and awesome. Some of the bosses are just a pain in the ass to deal with, and the last boss wasn't very good either. This game has its problems, but the good outweighs the bad. It was definitely more enjoyable to us than the first.
So the first Toy Story game was more for mastering, and the second one was more for fun, so we recommend getting the second one over the first one. Now I know we missed quite a few of the other Toy Story games, and we'll get to them eventually. So if you know of any other good or even bad licensed games that we should be playing, leave them in the comment section below.
I thought we were done with this gag!
Hey everybody, Jose here. Just want to say thanks for watching. This was Side's first time doing something like this, so if you want to leave some helpful advice, that'd be great. You can also tell us what licensed game we should play next. If you want to see our first impressions of Toy Story for the Genesis, click here or watch it on our Let's Play channel. If you want some more awesome videos, click here. Yeah, that's about it. So, see you guys next time.